Hey everybody, Moo here. This video has been requested for quite some time by all kinds of people. Even when I was on vacation, I would occasionally log into my YouTube account just to see what comments, questions I might be getting. And this one was mentioned a few times, I will say. So here we go. This is the updated tier list. Now, the reason I didn't want to make this video initially was because the top 3 have not changed. Also, tier lists generally tend to be very subjective. That means who I think is stronger may not be the case for you because you might be substantially more skilled with another Tsum Tsum. And more importantly, the best coin earner in the game is the one you're gonna enjoy playing for the longest amount of time. Because let's face it, if you are like me and you had to play one game with Gaston, your phone and your wall would instantly make impact, and then your screen would shatter everywhere. You'd have to bust out the vacuum, send in your phone for repairs, and you wouldn't earn much coin as a result after that game. So being able to play with, say, Captain Hook for 1 hour is going to be much more efficient for you than playing with Gaston one game, if that's the kind of suffering that will be induced upon your person as a result. So these tier lists are highly subjective, but if you're looking to min-max, and that means absolutely squeeze every Tsum Tsum for every percent of efficiency that you could possibly get in this game at this moment, this is going to be that list, especially the top 3, because so many games have gone behind each one of those Tsum Tsum. The math is very strong. Everything has been considered, from maximum coin earning potential, which Jedi Luke is an absolute monster. No one comes even close. Coins per minute also has been considered, and when you take everything into consideration, including just my own skill, because again, this might vary for you depending on how you play the game, how you play with Tsum Tsum, which you prefer, and all that kind of thing. Jedi Luke is about 30% stronger than Gaston on average. Gaston is about 15 to 20% stronger than Beast on average, and Beast is about 15% stronger than the rest of the field, and then it only gets worse from that. So Beast is like a bazillion% stronger than, say, Donald. But as you can see, the average base coin amounts are kind of listed on the side. Of course, those numbers vary greatly. So Jedi Luke can still hit the 20 and 30,000 base coin amounts in very good games. But that is actually a lot harder to do these days, because last winter, I believe in November or whenever that patch came out, whatever it is that they changed has certainly made it more difficult to get those kinds of games with Jedi Luke. And despite what you might think and what you might say, that is a nerf, my friends, because when you could do something before, which is now no longer possible or significantly more difficult, that means something has been taken away from the game, and that is a nerf. That is the definition of a nerf, all right? Even though those results are still possible, they're not nearly as frequent, but that just goes to show you how much more powerful Jedi Luke is than everybody else. Because when, before they made that change, you could get 15, 20,000 base coin with him almost every single game, which basically placed him like 50, 60, 70% stronger than anyone else. Now he's a little bit toned down. There's a more linear jump in levels, but he's still in his own rank. Gaston, as much as I hate him, and again, this is totally subjective, if I was making a list of coin earners that was based purely on my personal preference, Gaston would be at the bottom of Donald, because I simply don't like playing with him. But I have to mention that he is the second best coin earner in the game. There is a skill attached to his ability. You have to get the cycle just right to be able to get 7,000, 8,000 coin with him every single game. It is entirely possible. He's very good, but there are some drawbacks to his skill. Namely, if you also care about score, with anyone but Gaston, there's some drawbacks, because if you know what the Luke is all about, essentially he just generates Gastons, which means you are not upgrading your other support Tsum Tsum at all. On average, you would get maybe 50, 40 other Tsum Tsum cleared. Everything else is going strictly to Gaston. You're going to get him to level 50 very easily, and from that point forward, that is kind of what you can expect from every single game, because really the only other score boost you're going to get is from your own player level increasing. All the other support Tsum Tsum will not increase as a result. That is another reason I don't particularly enjoy playing him, because I do hope that at some point in the future I will upgrade most of my support Tsum Tsum to level 50. So that's another drawback to him. Beast is a very solid number 3 because of a number of reasons, including easy to play. He's very easy to play. He's also very satisfying to play. In fact, I would consider him my personal number 2. Playing him is super fun. Watching him claw the entire screen away is very satisfying. And that is why I would choose him over Gaston almost every single time, unless I really needed to get coin. But then, I am fortunate enough to have Jedi Luke, so I'd probably just go with Jedi Luke in that case. That is precisely why I'm not going to put Scrooge any higher, because while he is a very powerful coin earner in his own right, and probably could be a step higher, he's just so boring to play. I just can't stand it. Every time he dives into the Tsum Tsum, it looks like he's barely hitting anything. I just can't play him more than 2 or 3 games without getting bored. And for that reason, I placed him in 5th, along with Salazar, Peter Pan, and Happy Rapunzel. That's not to say he's weak. He's very, very powerful and very much deserves to be in 5th or 4th. Now, the reason I jumped over 4th is because Woody, I'm actually not entirely sure about. I just kind of placed him there. I haven't had enough games with him on the international server to really get a feel for how I would slot him. But because I can consistently get 6,000 base coin or more with him every single game, and I can't entirely do that with the others, I placed him in 4. He might be on par with Beast, in which case they would both be in number 3 and everyone else would move up a slot. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is until I get more information. That's not really going to affect the overall ranking. You guys have a pretty good idea about how everyone stacks up at this point. One second. I've been talking for 7 minutes now. Just quick rehydration break. Well, you know, not really. If you know how hydration works, that's not it. Now, as you guys see, as we progressively go lower and lower down the list, the margins shrink significantly. The top 3 have the biggest gaps in between, and unfortunately, we don't have the diversity in Tsum Tsum to occupy more than one spot for one Tsum Tsum at that stage. But as we go lower, that changes, as you can tell. So, at the 5,000, 4,500 to 5,000 range, there's any number of Tsum Tsum that we can plug into that. There's no shortage, and then the lower we go from there, Maleficent Dragon is at the 4,500, 5,000 range. That's, of course, heavily skill dependent, because Maleficent Dragon is definitely one of the harder Tsum Tsum to master, and you certainly need a relatively good hardware. You know, your phone or tablet or whatever it is needs to be running pretty well in order to really max out the potential of Maleficent Dragon. And you know what I mean by that, you know that iPhone thing? Yeah, that thing, yeah. Real fair. And from that point onwards, you get Captain Hook, Crush. There's many ways you can manipulate vertical clears to your advantage, so you can get even more coin from them. Crush is no exception. There's a particular trick with Gyro where you can kind of shift all the Tsum Tsum to the right and then bring them all up back to the middle, and then he's going to be hitting for 40s easily. So you can definitely get ridiculous results with Captain Hook and Crush. And from that point onwards, really number 9 and number 10 are very similar. Almost all other burst type Tsum Tsum are going to be able to provide you with the 3,500 to 4,000 base coin. And of course, this entire list is based on SL6 potential. If you guys really want, we can do an SL1 list as well, but I imagine most people want to see the absolute top tier, the upper echelons of the game, because SL1 is really insignificant. Even when you're getting, you know, 2-3 skill tickets per month, you can take any Tsum Tsum you want to SL3 relatively easily. And really, when people ask me about skill tickets, my answer is generally the same. Save them all for Jedi Luke, but if you must invest in somebody immediately because you want to max out your point earning potential in the short term, probably Scrooge would be the best because he requires the least amount of skill tickets to max out. And after that, definitely focus on top 2 or even Sheriff Woody, because he's in the rotation now. If you can get 1 copy of him and you don't have Gaston and Beast at a high enough skill level, then by all means you can go for Sheriff Woody. If you enjoy playing him more, I can't stress that enough, the Tsum Tsum you like playing the most is going to be your best coin earner. So I hope this video is pretty useful to you guys. You've been asking for it for quite some time. These are basically my numbers. Again, just to remind you, this is entirely subjective. You might disagree with me entirely on this list. Yours might look completely different. But as far as the top 3 go, this is pretty set in stone. Everyone else, really, it's up to you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing weekend. And as always, thank you so much for your likes, your subs, and your viewership. I'll see you guys next time.